Right, no worries. Good evening, welcome to Cardiff TV. What a finish, what a goal! Good afternoon, welcome to Cardiff City TV with myself, Ashley James, and as ever for home games, my colleague John Donovan for the start of, I don't know if you can call it another era in Cardiff City's history, that's yet to be seen, but certainly another change of direction, courtesy, of course, of the dismissal of Steve Morison after that 1-0 defeat to Huddersfield Town just before the international break. JP, plenty of shock online at the dismissal, but a changing of the guard nonetheless at Cardiff City.
Yeah, always unfortunate when someone steps away from the club, but you can only look forward. I'm still a big believer in this project. I'm still a big believer in this group of players. Hopefully we'll see the start of that today. Ash, looks like there's been a few tweaks, which is always the case when there's a new manager involved up against a very, very good team today. But you know, you want to see that reaction. It's cliched in football. We did see it at Huddersfield when the home team had a reaction from the dismissal of their manager. You want Cardiff City to galvanise the support today. Hopefully that will happen.
Yeah, so in terms of a stern test first up, it doesn't get much more difficult than what Cardiff are going to have to contend with today. Vincent Kompany's Burnley outfit coming to Cardiff City Stadium, a team in their own right going through their own transition period, of course, after many, many years of Sean Dyche in charge. They're unbeaten in 8 games in all competitions, 4 draws, 4 wins in that though, sit 4th in the table as well ahead of kick-off. And certainly, if you look at the top 4 at the moment, Reading seem like the odd ones out there at the moment. Norwich City rather, and Sheffield United making up the rest of the top 3. So 3 teams in amongst the 4 who've been in the Premier League in fair recent history, which is what we've come to expect from the Championship in recent seasons. So we'll talk about Burnley in a little bit. We'll hear from Mark Hudson, of course, the new Cardiff caretaker manager, as well as ever here on Pre-Match Live, and we'll also hear from Ryan Wintle, who's won the captain's armband a couple of times this season as well. But you've mentioned the team there, John, ahead of kick-off this day. So let's take a look at it in a bit more detail. It looks like a 4-2-3-1. Plenty of suspicions it might be a very attacking 4-4-2. I had a quick chat with Darren Pearce, of course, under 21s manager, who trains in close proximity and of course has a relationship with some of the coaching staff. And he believes it's a 4-2-3-1 with actually what he expects is to see Che Ojo operating as the 10, who was one of those who's been given an opportunity this afternoon. Hasn't started many games under Steve Morison, so comes straight in under Mark Hudson, and it probably means a switching of flanks for Callum O'Dowda to go over and play on the right flank.
Yeah, it's interesting. When I first looked at it prior to meeting up with you today, Ash, I thought it looked 4-4-2. You know, that was the system that Mark Hudson was very familiar with under Dave Jones, when Dave Jones was manager at Cardiff City. You know, there is a feeling perhaps that Cardiff need to go for it more, need to get more bodies into the box, and perhaps 4-4-2 would allow that. Obviously, you've had the intel from Darren Pearce, and I'll bow to the under-21 manager, a 4-2-3-1, and maybe that makes more sense, not allowing a midfield 2 to maybe go up against a midfield 3 and be outnumbered in there. Burnley, who are going to see a lot of the ball anyway, dominating that midfield area. But there's flexibility. It could switch to a 4-4-2. You know, we saw against Middlesbrough, perhaps the green shoots of a partnership between Robertson and Harris. I thought the movement between them, both diminutive figures, but the movement, the way they dragged centre-halves around, allowed spaces for other players, notably Callum O'Dowda, to go into. So I do like the fact of seeing those two play in proximity again, whether it's as a front 2 or whether it's Harris maybe from the left. Cardiff, I think, are expecting to play without the ball, Ash, and then they're expecting maybe quick transition, quick counter-attack, get bodies into the channels and try and hurt Burnley that way. So, you know, Mark Hudson wants to put his stamp on this team. It appears that he is doing so. Cardiff need a good start. They need this crowd in it. They can't fall behind early because that'll just take all the air out of the balloon after what's been a difficult couple of weeks anyway. So hopefully Cardiff start on the front foot. But certainly credit to Mark Hudson. He said, this is the team I believe in. I believe in a change of shape, be it 4-2-3-1 or 4-4-2. Hopefully the manager gets some of the luck from the football gods today.
Yeah, another quick point to point out is, of course, Captain Joe Rawls back in the team as well this afternoon. He's, of course, limped off in that win at Middlesbrough, so missed the last couple. And no place in the matchday squad for Ruben Colwell, but Mark Hudson largely alluded to that in his pre-match conference. Of course, picked up a knock away on Wales duty in the week.
He did mention that 6 times in the press conference.
Yes,
he did,
just to be clear, not
clear.
involved for serious reasons. Quickly say, we spoke about the need to fix what's gone wrong in recent games, and I think you've hit the nail on the head. You need to get bodies in the box. We got an awful lot of possession away at Huddersfield, an awful lot of possession in the wide areas. And if you look at the goals that Cardiff have scored this year, we've scored some very pretty goals. We haven't scored a lot of scruffy ones, have we? So I think that's been Cardiff's large failure in these opening 10 games. When they have scored, they've been long, fluent passages of play that have carved open a team and have looked really good. But when that isn't happening, it's not even a plan B. They haven't been able to just carve out half chances and scruffy opportunities.
Yeah, I agree. I see it both sides of the coin. I still go back to that first goal at Middlesbrough, and I think, Harris and particularly Robertson took centre-halves into an area they didn't want to go, which opened up a channel between centre-half and full-back for O'Dowda to go in. And I think that's what 2 strikers or 2 players occupying centre-halves gives you, the ability to move them around and therefore open up space for midfield runners. So that's why I was in favour of a 2 up front, whether we'll see that today. But you're absolutely right as well. Millwall, a game I commentated on at the Den, Cardiff, I thought, if they moved up a gear and got bodies into the box, should have won that game. They looked like a far better footballing team in my eyes. But every time the ball went into the box, it was, you've got to hit one man, and you've got to hit one man with a perfect ball. And as a result, you can't win second ball either. And you're absolutely right, there's no scruffy goals being scored. We know we're not expert from set plays anymore, but just having more bodies in the box around the penalty area, those second balls, that's critical. And that's what I hope is a change that Mark Hudson brings to this team. There's more men flooding into the box to either occupy or take advantage of the space that forward players have opened up, or they get to that second ball first and we score that garbage goal. A goal's a goal. Hopefully we'll see some of them today.
Well, before we talk any further about this afternoon's game and touch on the Burnley team that's going to line up, let's hear from former Cardiff City captain and now current caretaker manager Mark Hudson. This is what he had to say yesterday.
I think obviously we know what's happened over the last, I suppose, 2 weeks. And I've been asked to look after the football club in the interim, and that's a big honour for me. Obviously I was here as a player, been here as a coach, so like I said, it's a big honour for me to be asked to lead this football club. It means a lot, and I think it's, like I said, it is an honour to be to lead in any football club, but yeah, this specifically is such a big history, and to be stood in the technical area for Cardiff and wearing the badge is obviously a proud moment. But yes, it's down to results, and we need to focus on this game. Yeah, I mean, we've had some away with international, as you know, and yes, we were in last week, and then I called a staff meeting, player meeting, that we were all together, and then we spoke through obviously the disappointment of when someone loses their job, something's not quite right, and we should hold that disappointment, but ultimately we've got games coming up, so the club and football moves forward and it's fast paced, so we had to refocus our minds, and then we look forward to Burnley. From my point of view, it's about focusing on the games coming up. I think it's so important, and I think Burnley is a big game. We know that how well they're doing at the moment, so we need to be right at it come Saturday. I mean, we've got 2 games coming up, Rob, and I'm not going to give away too much of what we're going to do, otherwise Burnley are going to pick it up, aren't they? So I think obviously we've had some good time on the grass, and it's the players have taken it on board, and they've been in good spirits. We had everyone back today for the first time. We've had the Welsh boys came back in, and then we've had there's sort of obviously the two Republic of Ireland players, and then the Northern Ireland Gav have just come back in today. So it's the first time we've had them all on the grass together, but we've had time throughout the international break with the players. Yeah. I think the players and us as staff, we're looking at results, and we want to get results, and we want to showcase what we're about at our stadium. So that's the focus of the weekend. Yeah, I had a long, hard look at them. Yeah, obviously I think obviously Bellas is coming back. We know Mr. Company, and he's made a big change in the playing style there. And they seem to be in a good vein of form at the moment. It's always friendly with me and Bellas. Yeah, of course it is. Yeah, but I think obviously for him, it's coming back to a club that he's had a big sort of part in as well. I'm sure there'll be some nerves down there, deep down in his gut, which football gives you. So I'm sure he'll be looking forward to coming back, and I'll greet him, and we'll smile, and then we'll focus on the game. I want them to support the boys, obviously, and we know we've got to show them something. But I want them to do what they've been doing throughout the generations and generations of supporting this football club, and that's to get behind us. And we'll try and show them something for them to get behind us as well. But yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing them, looking forward to hearing the noise as it always is. So like I said, I'm excited for Saturday.
Welcome back, Mark Hudson there, talking ahead of his first game in charge as caretaker manager of Cardiff City this afternoon against Burnley. Autumn well and truly here. We've decamped to the gantry this afternoon because it's a blustery old day here in Cardiff. Well, we're going to hear from Ryan Wintle in a little bit, who has won the captain's armband on several occasions so far this season, but hands it back over to Joe Rolls this afternoon, who reassumes captain duties and back in the Cardiff City lineup. So just a quick reminder, if you're just joining us, that Cardiff City team in full, which you should be able to see on your screens now. Ryan Alsop keeps his place in goals. The graphic says 4-4-2. We led to believe it might be a 4-2-3-1, but the back four of Marlon Romeo, Perry and G, Cedric Kipre and Niels Nkanku, a midfield pairing of captain Joe Rolls and Ryan Wintle, and we think it's going to be Callum O'Dowda playing on the right flank, Mark Harris on the left, Shea Ojo as the 10, and Callum Robinson, his first start in a Cardiff shirt at home, playing through the middle. So let's have a look at the Burnley team then, who've thrown a couple of surprises. They've recruited heavily in the summer, John, it's fair to be say, 16 new signings, over £20 million spent. But I guess when you're recouping £66 million in the likes of Nathan Collins, Maxwell Cornier, Dwight McNeil, Nick Pope, and the wage-in saved of James Tarkowski and Ben Mee and the like, then you've got that money to reinvest, and they've certainly supported this change of direction that Vincent Kompany's been brought in to navigate.
Yeah, and Vincent Kompany is seemingly gone with what he knows. There's a lot of players coming from the Jupiter Pro League in Belgium, and there's a number of signings from Manchester City under 21 development team. It looks like well, I wouldn't say there's an abundance of numbers in midfield, but certainly in centre half, full backs, and wide areas, it's a nice balance to the team. A lot of mixture of right, left footers, a lot of wingers were brought into the club. So I imagine Vincent Kompany will like to make the pitch big on occasions, be fluid through the middle. Jay Rodriguez is a goal scorer at this level. So, you know, we've talked about Cardiff City, Ash, with the new players coming in, taking time to settle, and we've seen glimpses of what this team could be. For Burnley to actually be, in fourth place, 17 points, only one loss, I believe, with that amount of turnover, credit to Vincent Kompany and, of course, other members of his coaching staff, who I'm sure will be recognised when they're on the bench today.
Nice touch. Let's talk about the lack of midfield numbers then of Burnley. For the three they are playing, really the only three senior recognised championship veterans in there. They brought Bastian Samuel in as well, who's played a little bit, but the three that get in the place have been excellent. Jack Hawke, an absolute warrior at this level. Josh Cullen, who he managed at Anderlecht and has just been brought in to be that metronomic figure. And Josh Brownhill looks like a player, reborn back in the championship.
Yeah, and we know Brownhill from personal experience here at Cardiff City Stadium has a goal in him, and be interested to see him playing at that number 10 role. But Cork and Cullen, absolutely, I expect them to provide a very good base. Jack Cork, of course, son of former Cardiff City coach Alan Cork. He's a neat and tidy player. He keeps hold of the ball, he moves it quickly, he sets the transition away, and he always is in the right position to break up plays when the opposing team is attacking forward. So I think they're reasonably solid in their back six. They also have a big towering goalkeeper they brought in from Manchester City. So I think Vincent Kompany has looked to build from the back. But again, I do think their danger comes in wide areas, and it'd be important. I thought at Huddersfield and Conco and Simpson were out of sync. For one reason or another, and there was too much space there was too much of a channel there. That can't happen today, because those quality players in the wide areas can start from an outside position and then make that run, get into that channel if it's there, if it's too big. And Cardiff City, need to make sure that back four is reasonably compact. There needs to be a leader in there, probably Kipray. It's a big day for the Cardiff City back four today, who've been good in a lot of games, and individually, I think we've seen good performances, Kipray and NG particularly, but it's an important day for the Cardiff City back four.
We've seen some first-hand experience of Nathan Teller on the left, absolutely tearing Cardiff City to shreds on this ground in that pre-season friendly for Southampton a couple of years ago, where he was truly terrifying and has really hit the ground running in his championship days with Burnley so far. One thing I want to touch on, talking about Perry and G there, playing full-backs as a centre-half, all in vogue at the moment in the championship, and you look at Charlie Taylor, who's been a very, very adequate Premier League left-back for Burnley over the years, has been chosen ahead of others to be the left-footed centre-half in this team of the first 10 games of the season, has been excellent.
Yeah, Vincent Kompany's obviously seen something he likes, similar to Perry and G. You're asking defenders these days to do it both sides of the ball. He's a good left-back, left-footed defender. So from that centre-half position, he can step out. He can be that extra body, that overload player in midfield with Cullen and Cork. If Cullen takes a step forward, Taylor can step out and play with Cork. So it is the modern game. You're not just looking at your centre-halves to head away and kick away. They've got to be able to do both sides of the game. I still think that ultimately a defender's job is to defend the goal, and maybe we've seen Perry NG, because of his lack of height, exploited on a few occasions. I'm a huge fan of him in there, but that's going to go into the opposing team's scouting report. So therefore, can Cardiff City get amongst Charlie Taylor today? Can they get Callum O'Dowda? If Callum O'Dowda is indeed playing from the right flank, and Callum O'Dowda is probably Cardiff City's best player in the air, can they get him arriving in the box and get him arriving on Taylor and look to dominate there? So you like to think all of this has gone into the scouting reports. That's what the analysis people do, and whilst I think Taylor's a very, very good player, is there something that can be exploited there? We'll wait and see.
Interesting question marks abound for Mark Hudson's first game in charge as caretaker manager of the Bluebirds against a very, very strong Burnley side looking to bounce back straight back to the Premier League after last season's relegation. We've got live commentary of the Bluebirds and Burnley coming up in about 11 minutes time, but first let's hear from Ryan Wintle to hear what he has to say for his this changing of the guard that we've witnessed at the club over the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, obviously it's a difficult time for everyone involved really with the football club when a manager gets changed. So for us as players, obviously it's just about working hard. There's a new manager involved, and work as hard as you can. Hopefully you're in the team for, like you say, the new manager. Yeah, obviously he's been here the same amount of time as I have really when I come back. So everyone's kind of got relationships with him anyway, so he should know how to get the best out of us. So it should help us all, and yeah, hopefully it'll help me too. Don't let standards slip, and make sure that we work for each other. It's not just the football club; we work for each other as well. And if we can do that on a daily basis, it'll come off in matches, and we'll find ourselves a lot higher up at the table. I think it is a clean slate. Obviously, everyone, when it's a different manager, they've got their own opinions, they've got their own ideas. So it's whether you fit into that, and it's just trying to, for myself, make sure that I do. He'll have his own philosophy, how he wants us to play and whatnot. So I can't really, tell you that, but hopefully it works off for us. So yeah, I think we've had a lot of positive performances which haven't been positive results, and then we've had performances that haven't been as good and we've got better results. So it's a strange old game at times, but it's just trying to put both together really, and hopefully we can do that on Saturday. Yeah, it's going to be a tough game. Every game in this division is. So they've spent a bit of money. They've got a very experienced manager. So it's just about they're coming to our place, and we don't like getting beat anywhere, and especially not here. So hopefully we can turn them over. I don't know. We haven't scored many goals. We haven't created as many clear-cut chances as we'd liked. We've been getting there in opportunities well enough. So it's just about having that, cutting edge and making sure we do. One day it'll click and we'll score 4 or 5. It could be any day. So, hopefully they just come around quickly. Yeah, well, we can't do anything about who's going to go and manage a job or whatever. So we've just got to make sure that, we do well enough for ourselves and make sure whoever is in charge picks us to play.
Top 5 in association with the Big Yellow Self-Storage Company.
Response, big moment for Cardiff City. Take him out, Bruno Manga, wanting to get on the front foot, and more importantly, Ash, when he gets to the ball in the penalty box, it's a quality first-time delivery back to Josh Murphy, and then it's all about the finish, and it's whipped home beautifully.
Good evening, welcome to Cardiff City TV.
What a finish, what a goal! Dangerous possible escape, they headed down, good save from Wilson!
Good afternoon, welcome to Matchday Live, courtesy of Cardiff City TV, for Mark Hudson's first game in charge as caretaker manager of the Bluebirds, as we welcome Vincent Kompany's Burnley outfit to the Cardiff City Stadium. A Burnley side in transition themselves, transitioning in terms of their place from a Premier League mainstay back to the Championship this season, and also a very drastic style of football change from what we've seen under Sean Dyche for many, many years at Turf Moor into a possession-dominant modern outfit. 16 new signings for Burnley this off-season, 17 for Cardiff. Should make for an intriguing battle here in the first autumn fixture of this 22-23 championship season. We await the arrival of the two teams. Cardiff, of course, last time out, that 1-0 defeat away at Huddersfield Town, which eventually did for Steve Morison. A run of fixtures without a win before that Middlesbrough victory, which preceded it as well. For Burnley, a 2-1 win at home to Bristol City preceded the international break. Jay Rodriguez on the score sheet. He's got 5 goals already this season. He scored 22 the last time he played at this level. For Cardiff, it's a first home start for Callum Robinson since arriving on deadline day from West Bromwich Albion. We'll run through the two teams in due course, but it looks like a change of shape and some slight changes of personnel for the Bluebirds by Mark Hudson, of course, the former captain of this football club prior to his re-arrival here last season as part of Steve Morison's coaching setup, and now alongside Tom Ramsett, a local lad who was Morison's number 2, takes the reins here this afternoon for the first time for how long? Well, yet to be seen. Let's not call it a new era quite yet, but fixtures coming thick and fast. Conor Pearce, who's alongside me this afternoon.
Well, big week coming up for Cardiff City. 3 games, 2 here at home, obviously.
Very Greater Manchester-centric week for the Bluebirds. Burnley this afternoon, Blackburn at home on Tuesday night, and then that trip to Wigan next Saturday.
Indeed, 3 tough games, but got to start looking at picking up points, particularly here at home, creating chances and scoring goals, and very excited to see what the Bluebirds can bring to the table this afternoon.
It will indeed, as we welcome the two teams led out by captains for the afternoon, Jack Hawke and a returning Joe Rolls. Chilly autumnal afternoon here in the Welsh capital, but the sun has just poked out from beneath the clouds. It's dry at the moment, conditions pretty perfect. We'll be intrigued to see what we will make of the next 90 minutes or so. Mark Hudson has made changes to his first team selection. It looks like a back 4 for Cardiff, having played with a 3 in recent games. So it means Perry and G and Cedric Keeperay back together as a central defensive pairing. Also sees the return of that man, Joe Rolls, to the middle of the park alongside Ryan Wintle, who has worn the captain's armband in his place at times this season. And we think it's going to be a front 4, so Callum Robinson leading the line, but with Shea Ojo operating as the 10 behind, Robinson and Mark Harris on the 2 flanks. But versatility and flexibility in that alignment as Cardiff go looking for goals. Pretty static lineup for Vincent Kompany. Charlie Taylor continues as a left-footed centre-half, having played most of his career as a left-back. Jay Rodriguez, with 5 goals already for the season, leads the line. The central midfield 3 have been simply brilliant, of Jack Hawke, Josh Cullen and Josh Brownhill. The only slightly raised, arched eyebrow, I think, is on the right flank, where Icelandic veteran Johan Berg Gudmundsson gets the nod ahead of Belgian international